but also was like trying to justify it. But then this is also a piece that I actually originally wrote to perform at the most recent Word show. Word is this great community of poets at Brown, which is where I met Darnell.
Word. Poetry group.
But we have these shows every semester, and for this most recent one, I instead of doing kind of like a spoken word piece, I did something a little different and recorded this piece and played the audio recording while I just stood still on stage and stared at the window. And it was kind of it was really, really frightening, actually, to just just stand on stage and not do anything. And it was sort of about like what it means to kind of expose your body and like divorce like your voice from your body. Because when you're up here, you see your body, but then I'm like, but I'm a person because I'm speaking these words to you. But like, what happens when you kind of take those things apart? So I can't really do it here, but I am going to read you the poem that, now that we're talking about bodies. If looks could kill. All writing is an act of murder. I am always putting my own suicide on parade. I is always anchored to this long, straight stem, serifed at one end by my feet, which are really only the negative of past footprints, and dotted with the complicated space above my neck, which is less a containment of my thoughts, more a composite sketch for my wildly criminal mind, the description given by a blind witness. Now I've got wanted posters plastered all down every living proof of me. This body is short for me. This body is something like a back cover, a 120-pound blurb of me. This body is something like the empty bowl of a word, just deep enough to hold a make-believe story about a girl with a name. I could swear I was more than this. I reverberate bigger than this, or at least wider, or at least wiser. Try to believe this machine is no more than something that does what I tell it, something to brace myself against as I make jumps in logic. I've always been amazed by people who can practice for interviews in the mirror. For me, there's always a deep, stomach, sickening, rickety, halting horror in watching my own moving image. I prefer to think of it as dead, as a yearbook photo. Take comfort in the flatness of a frozen body. It gives me a solid pole to cartwheel around, like a tether ball, like a system in orbit. My body is the sun of me. My body is the paper on which I write the sum of me. I've never been good at mental math. I promise that all this would be true, except that this is a branded body, and therefore a thing in motion, a left-of-center thing. So I orbit lopsided, dice loaded with history. This body is a black hole warping the grid of my space-time, leaning too specific to balance a solar system on its back. You cannot teach a generation to unlearn the meaning of skin and eyelids, of breasts and armpits and flat nose and long hair. There are so many pinholes in my spirograph. My pen whirlwinds around and around its complicated and infinite path, which is anything but a circle, no two adjectives ever agreeing on a time and place to meet. There are too many contradictory stories carved into my back. This body is a slice thing, slits cut down its sides to cook faster. They've given me grooves to tread the world with. I have been called names. It has been for traction's sake. It tires under the weight of the rest of my storm, assuming that there is a rest of me. A story about a girl with a name she answers to, assuming she can speak. What would she tell you if she could? And could she trust you to listen with your eyes groping tentacles into her pores? Swing open your eyelids. You are always walking in on her, deer in searchlights. This is a story of a girl with a name tag, but who could never remember her name, and so she drew her own face instead, taped it over her mouth. Some of us have bodies that are always advertising us. We cannot unravel ourselves from these banners at the end of the day.